Kerry-Ann here from Shabby Art Boutique. Today I've got for you just the sweetest little teacup and roses pop-up card. I actually made this for my mum for her birthday this week, and I just knew that you would love it too. So it's just a really easy little, take that 20-minute project, print and make. You simply cut out all the little fussy cuts and glue it together to form the little box card. On the back it's got the cute little postcard that you can write your sentiment on, and it just pops on with a little paper clip or some kind of little bulldog clip. And then on the front you've got all your layered flowers. Isn't that just pretty? And I've even included a really easy 2-piece envelope. So that's a 6x6 envelope that just fits in there beautifully when it's folded down flat, and you can post it. It fits in there just perfectly. So this is a beautiful little card that could be used for any occasion. It doesn't have any particular banner on it, so you can make it suit whatever your needs are. But honestly, it's a really, really quick little project, and I'm going to show you now how I made mine. So this is a really simple print and make project to put together. There are just the 2 pages of fussy cuts, so the roses, the box construction and the little teacups. And then there are 2 pages to form the envelope, which I've just printed on quite thin paper. This is of course optional. You don't have to use that envelope, but it's there if you would like to use it. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut out all of these items using my scissors. But I am going to, on the teacups here, I'm going to cut out the inside part of the handle with my blade. You could use a craft knife or a scalpel blade. And then I'll continue cutting out the rest of it with my scissors. So I won't be a moment. So I've cut out all the elements. We've got our 2 items here that form our box, which is the base of the card. We've got our 2 teacups with the inside inserts cut out. There's a little postcard. I'm actually just going to put that aside in a second, but I'm just going to cut the little corners on it, just give tiny little curved corners on that. That's just an optional thing, but I think it looks quite sweet. I'll put that aside. That's all done. There we go. So I have a little postcards done. We'll put that up there. Now I've cut out the flowers. So what you'll see is on the 3 flowers that go on the front, I'll bring it up a bit closer so you can have a look. I've put a little white border on it, just a couple of millimeters. But on the one, so these are the 2 bigger ones. One's the front and one's the reverse to go on the back of the card. So it's actually going to back on like this. We're going to glue it in place. And I've cut this one right to the very edge of the design. That's because when we glue it on, the white backing on the back of the front piece will form that little white border for you, and it gives you room to move. So see, when we put that on there, we glue it down, it's going to still have that little white border on it, but you've got a little bit of room to move with your design. That's much easier to do it like that than to cut both out with a white border and they don't match up. So that'll match up perfectly at the back. When you glue that on, that'll just look like it's got a little white border cut around the edge of it. So that's the back piece and the front, and we're going to layer it with another couple of pieces, and they're all cut the same way with a little bit of white on the edge of it. So as I said, this is very quick to do, so you just cut out all your little fussy cuts. We'll put the flowers to the side because they're done, and the postcard because they're done. I've cut out the envelope, and we're just going to score around the edge to fold that down. That's really easy to make too, so we'll put that aside to the end. So let's construct our little box. This is really, really simple. I just need a scoreboard. Let me just grab that. I've actually put, I'm not sure if you'll pick it up there on the camera, there's little lines, very faint lines. You won't see them once you've folded it. That's just to show you where to score it. Just try and make these, always try and make this as easy as possible for you. There's that one, and there's another one on this side that needs to be scored there for the tab. There we go. So that's that done. So that's your 4 little pieces that form the edges of your box. Super, super easy. And there's the little tab that's going to go on the inside. And I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on there. Hopefully it's going to come out for me. I might need to put a little pin in there. I think it's a little bit stuck. I think it was just had a little bit of glue had dried up in the top there. So just put a little, it's just white glue, plain PVA or Elmer's glue. You could use a glue stick, glue gun, whatever you normally use to glue it down. I'm just going to lay it flat like that and put that over the top. And that should line up perfectly. Sorry, I think I'm shaking the camera there. I'll try not to do that. Okay, so we've just formed a little box shape. Okay, and that's going to form the base to hold our cups. So I'll go on there and then it can flatten out to fold flat. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to just put glue on one side. Decide which cup's going to be your front cup. I'm going to use this one and I'm going to flatten it down like that. Put the teacup over it. And I'll just make sure I've got that level so the box is going to sit nice, and it is. So flatten it down. So that's the front, and then on the back, I'm going to do the same thing again. I think I went over the edge just a little bit there. Let me just wipe that bit off. We don't want that to happen. Just going to line this one up. Actually, first one I'll do, I'll put a little bit of glue on here. Now, do you know if you put a little bit of glue on both surfaces, it gives you a bit of traction, a bit of room to move. So if it's not quite right, you can actually, sorry, that's my poor old dog coughing in the background. My old girl. So yeah, so if you've got glue on both surfaces, it gives you a chance to actually move it around if you need to. So I'm just looking at that now to make sure they sort of line up when it's sitting in place. Yep, that looks pretty good. The handles sort of line up. So we'll just make sure that's really firmly adhered. Okay, so in the center, I've got a little center tab. I'll just quickly just score those. I should have done that before when I did the other one. There we go. Right, so just once again, this is going to go just in the middle here, just in the center like so. That's for us to adhere the flowers to. So I'll just put a little bit of white glue on there. You can just eyeball this. It doesn't have to be exactly center, just sort of what looks like it's pretty much center. And if you just close it up like that, it'll allow you to push it down. So can you see that? That's just in the middle there. Our cup still folds flat to post. Okay, so with our flowers, that's going to go on the very front. So it's going to go, this is going to go on there. It's going to glue it directly onto the cup. A little bit of foam tape on this one to bring it out a little bit. And our middle one, this is going to go on here. Now how I did mine was I actually cut a little slit in there and slipped it in there nice and neatly. So I'm just going to put some glue on here. So as I said before, both surfaces, that gives you a little wriggle room with your actual design. You can move them around a little bit. If you only put glue on one side, it sort of sticks pretty quickly. You can't reposition it. I'm just putting some glue around the edges of these. Not too much, we don't want it to ooze out. I'll just get my little spreader just to make sure that's not too close to the edges. Okay. So remember, we're going to have that little white border on this. So we just want to get that positioned centrally, so we get that little bit of border all around the edges. That looks pretty good. See how I was able to move it then, because it's got glue on both surfaces, so it got a bit of wiggle room. Pretty happy with that. Doing the 2 layers just makes that nice and firm as well. There we go. So this is how I did mine. You might have an easier way to do it. I sort of worked out roughly where I wanted it to sit. I grabbed a pencil, just did a little line that's got a fit between. And then I just take a little snip out. It's just a little wedge, tiny little wedge. Going to sit there nicely. We don't want it to go too far down onto that centerpiece, because otherwise we won't be able to see it sticking up from behind the other flowers. So I'll turn this on the side so you can see when we put the glue on, it's going to sit like that and mount on that little centerpiece. Okay, so I can see that it's just these little bits here that are going to need the glue on them. I'm just going to pop it in there, and then I'll fold it flat just to... It's probably the fiddliest part of the card. Just fold that flat to get that to it here. It goes together really quickly. It's still going to fold flat. Okay, beautiful. So this little one's going to go just on here over the top of the card. So I'm just going to put some glue. Actually, I think I'll just put some glue on the actual cup. That might be the easiest way to do it. Just fold it flat again just to push that down. And while that's down like that, we're going to put this little one just up on top, and I just need a little bit of foam tape. You could do 1 or 2 layers, it's up to you. I'm just going to do 1 layer just so it sticks out a little bit. Pop that sort of in the center. Okay. You can see it just gives it a little bit extra dimension. That's dry. I'm actually not quite happy with that bit there. I'm just going to cut a little bit more off of there and get my scissors in there. I feel like that's hindering it from sitting in place properly. There we go. It's the tiniest little millimetre, but it just makes it sit better. So it's always very hard to show these on camera. Now, we don't put anything on the back here. I mean, you could if you wanted to. You could just do another print off the flowers again and do a second layer if you wanted to. But the idea is that your little postcard here is where you can write your sentiment. And this is how I did mine. I just popped a little tiny clip on it, and it just sits there on the back of the card.